Sparks. It's the show that talks about what's happening in the news, locally, regionally, and nationally. There will be guests, and Noah Haswell will have the news of the top and bottom of each hour. And now, here is the host of the show, Frank Sparks.
Hey, good morning, and welcome back from vacation. And we're going to get started out this week with a bang, I guess. We're going to have Sheriff Tony Guy. He's running for Congress, and he will be on the Republican ticket. So we're going to talk with him here in hour number one, and then we'll have open talk in hour number two, and we'll go over everything because we've got a full week for you this week as well. So, but with that, let's say good morning to our good friend, Sheriff Tony Guy. Good morning.
Morning, Frank. How was your vacation?
Pretty good. It's just one of those staycation things, you know?
Ah, cool. Okay.
Get a little work done, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Family time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. That's great, man.
Always got to have one of those.
Some good and bad weather during that time, too, right?
Yeah, a little bit,
we had a few storms,
yeah. So, that's all. I like staycations, so they're nice because then you don't, you can just kind of hang out on Porchville, as I call it.
Right.
So,
right.
But,
good stuff.
So, Tony, tell everybody you're running for Congress up
sir.
Against Chris DeLuzio.
Yes, sir.
On the Republican ticket. Let's start off by telling everybody about yourself.
Yeah, Tony Guy, born and raised in Beaver County, grew up in Aliquippa. Middle-class parents, went to Catholic school for 12 years, got out of high school, did some work in the construction fields for a few years, and then got on with the state police. Did that for almost 26 years. Did a lot of really interesting stuff with the state police. Worked at some busy patrol stations, rode a motorcycle on the parkway, worked undercover for a few years doing drug investigations mostly. Polygraph examiner for 10 years. I was on a SWAT team for 15, made rank a couple of times and retired in 2010 as the head of the, or supervisor in charge of the Criminal Investigations Unit for Southwestern Pennsylvania. That was in 2010 that I retired, and then ran for office in 2015. Won a primary and then won the general election in 15, took office in 16.
Okay. And
I've been the sheriff there for the last 10 and a half years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell us about your family.
Good stuff. My family, right? Married for 35 years, coming up on 36. Got a daughter who is married and has 4 children, 2 boys, 8 and 6, 2 girls, just one, the older one just turned 3, and the baby is 4 months old.
Wow.
See them almost every day, greatly involved in their lives. My wife and I have been living in Hopewell since we got married. So my family life is good, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you ran for office as the sheriff, which is in law enforcement, which is where you've been.
Yeah.
What made you want to make the jump to Congress?
Well, that's a great question. And so I think I have to go back to running for sheriff, too. And so I mentioned all of those things that I did in the state police. All of those things prepared me, put me in a great position to be able to run a sheriff's office. But I really didn't have any ambitions for political office. But back in 2014, when we were having a little bit of turmoil in the sheriff's office, I was doing a Bible study, my wife and I and some friends, pretty informal. And one of the lessons in the Bible study was the parable of the talents. And if you know that, it's a wealthy landowner goes away. He leaves his treasures with his servants and rewards the servants who uses the talents properly and maximizes that, and punishes the servant who doesn't, who buries his treasure, so to speak. This is going on when the sheriff's office is in turmoil. I've got a long and proud career with the state police, and I couldn't get it out of my head that I wasn't using my talents. And prayed about it, talked with my wife about it, and again in 2015 decided to run for sheriff. But all of those things prepared me not only to run for sheriff, but also to be able to manage that office once elected. And I believe that God prepares us, our Creator puts us in a place where we're supposed to be able to maximize what we have. And I find myself at this point in time being called to something else because I'm seeing something that is becoming increasingly intolerable, and that is this, that we've got a lot of young people today who are convinced that progressivism, socialism, communism, all are acceptable, and not only acceptable, but maybe even a preferred form of politics. And we've got people across the country that are running for office as democratic socialists, and they're winning elections. And those people are calling for the abolition of the Senate, the abolition of the Supreme Court, free giveaways. We've got government-run grocery stores in New York. Somebody's paying for that, and it's the taxpayer. But public officials are even calling for the mass release of criminals into our communities, closing down jails. And so that's something that I can't tolerate. It's something that lets me know that now that I've got some additional talents, having been through political processes before, that I feel like I'm the perfect person for this point in time.
Congress. Why Congress?
Why Congress? Well, I don't, my campaign really isn't about my opponent. However, I have to point out the things that he's done that I think are contrary to the values of the people in this district. In one of the first things that caught my attention was when he told our military, young men and women, that they don't have to follow orders from the commander-in-chief. And I've got a lot of feedback and a lot of encouragement from veterans who say that that's not the proper tone to take. That's not the proper thing to say. But he's voted against a lot of things. He's voted against funding Department of Homeland Security. He's voted against keeping the border closed. And even just recently, those are right and left issues, and I get that. In my opinion, I think he's on the wrong side of a lot of 80-20 issues. But there's also right and wrong issues, too. And one of the things that I think about in regards to that is what's wrong, and everybody knows this. It's wrong for somebody to go to Washington, D.C. and become a congressman and get rich because of insider trading. Chris Deluzio voted against stopping that when a lot of Democrats went over and voted with Republicans to stop the insider trading through an act. Right and wrong issues, again, those are the things that kind of continue and encourage me. Those are the things that don't represent the values in this district or the country for that matter. And so I guess why Congress? I think that's where the need is the greatest. We're living in a time right now, too, where we've got people on the extreme left and people on the extreme right who are just throwing rocks at people. And there's all these unheard people in the center who aren't being represented. And I think back to, I'm not a young man anymore, so I remember back when Ronald Reagan was the president and Tip O'Neill was the Speaker of the House, conservative Republican, liberal Democrat. They would go to lunch and talk about issues and do things that were for the best of the country, were in the best interest of the country. And I think we need to get back to that. And if I can just say one more thing on that topic, I think we got a great example here in Pennsylvania, how the people are embracing politicians who are doing that. And I look at McCormick and Fetterman and the relationship that they've developed. And again, McCormick's incredibly conservative. Fetterman's liberal. But yet, if it's good for Pennsylvania, if it's good for the people, they're going to vote for it, and they're going to vote together. And I think that's the tone and demeanor that we have to get back to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good thing about Fetterman. He actually will sit there and listen to everybody, which is good, and that's what we need.
And apply his values.
All right, we're going to take a short break, and we're visiting this morning with Sherriff Tony Guy. He's running for Congress, and we'll talk more right after this. Vehicle shopping is confusing because the more you look, the more confused you get. Well, that doesn't happen when you visit All Access Car and Truck Sales in New Brighton. With over 20 years of experience, their friendly staff will listen to your needs and help you decide on the vehicle that best suits your needs. Check out their inventory online or in person. No matter what your credit is, they offer many options. Open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 10 to 7, Wednesday and Friday from 10 to 6, and Saturday from 10 to 4. So don't get confused. Cruise in and visit All Access Car and Truck Sales in New Brighton. Let them make your next car experience one to remember.
Start your day with breakfast at McDonald's. Enjoy their $4 sausage McMuffin or sausage biscuit meal deal. This comes with hash browns and small coffee too. Whether you're on your way to work or school, McDonald's has the right breakfast for you. McDonald's,
It's summertime and the living is easy until your air conditioner suddenly quits. Now it's hot, the air feels heavy, and nobody's comfortable. You might even hear,
I can't live another day like this.
This is Eric 9 with Homer 9 and Sons. And when your AC goes down, this is the time to call us. Because you don't want to wait, you want it fixed fast and fixed right the first time. At Homer 9 and Sons, we deliver professional, dependable service to get your home cool and comfortable again without the stress. And right now, for a limited time, get your AC tune-up for just $79. If it's time for a new system, we offer trusted brands like Lennox, plus financing options designed to fit your budget, so you can get back to enjoying summer the way it's supposed to be. Homer 9 and Sons, quality home comfort since 1943.
Are you a fan of the historic high school sports history that we have in Beaver County? Beaver County Radio and the Fry Transportation Group are proud to introduce Way Back When. Every Sunday night at 8 p.m., Beaver County Radio will rebroadcast a classic high school game in its entirety. You'll hear the call of famous Beaver County Radio sports broadcasters from the past and present as they take you way back when. Tune in this Sunday, August 30th at 8 p.m. as we go way back to October 22nd, 2010, a high school football matchup between the Ambridge Bridgers and the Hopewell Vikings. Way Back When is presented by the Fry Transportation Group and brought to you by Falcone's Moon Township Ford, The Hangar, and Beaver County Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
You're driving in the fast lane with Frank Sparks on 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. You can also stream live on beavercountyradio.com.
It is 10:22 in Beaver County on this Monday, August the 24th. Currently sitting at 61 degrees. Visiting in hour number one with Sherriff Tony Guy today. He is running for U.S. Congress coming up here in the general election. And just talking about some of the issues. And so veterans, that's always a big thing, especially around here. Yeah. Our veterans mean so much to all of us. What are some of the things that you would like to be able, some ways you'd like to be able to help veterans out if you're elected?
So you're absolutely right. Our veterans mean so much to us. And this area, this region, southwestern Pennsylvania, has always overproduced the amount of people that are willing to serve our country. And that's historically, it's been the case. Some of the things that I'm hearing from veterans these days, and I know them, I meet them. I've gotten to be friends with a lot of veterans since I've been a sheriff. I go to the veterans breakfast clubs that they hold probably 4 or 5 times a year at Seven Oaks Country Club. Great event. Usually get a couple hundred people in the room, veterans kind of talking about their experiences. But I just recently had somebody come up to me and talk to me about a veterans issue, and this is in regards to healthcare services, and in this case, particularly for mental health issues. And what they're finding is that they get a therapist that they're talking to, and they start to get some traction and momentum in dealing with their issues, and they find that person has now left the VA, and they've gone to a different job, and now they've got to start all over with another counselor. And I think there's a pretty simple way to address that and fix that. Let the VA pay for those services, but let that veteran go to who they believe is serving them properly and they can get the most help from. And I'm talking about that in the mental health field, for veterans with maybe depression or PTSD, and a lot of those folks are struggling. But you can apply that not just to mental health issues, but to all medical fields. Why shouldn't our veterans be able to go to a doctor that is going to take care of their issues to their best satisfaction, rather than having to go to
Well, even their own family doctor.
That's what I'm talking about. You know, just because they're going to go to their family doctor doesn't mean they should lose the veterans paying for that. And there's a way to work through that, you know, the details of that. But, you know, it's about making sure our veterans get what they're looking for. So I think that's probably the biggest issue for veterans that I can think of right now. But we need to do a better job of that.
So what are some of the other things that you'd like to see changed?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of things going on right now. We've got people are struggling, families are struggling. Cost of energy is through the roof, and cost of housing is crazy. And we've got young people now with extreme levels of student debt that they're struggling to complete. As a matter of fact, sometimes those student debt monthly payments are as high as a mortgage.
Right.
And so that's kind of impacting the home ownership ability for those kids. So 15 years ago, Frank, we had the average age of a first-time home buyer was around 30 years old. Any idea what it is now?
I'll bet it's in the mid-40s at this
It's
point.
40 years old.
Wow.
So in a matter of 15 years, we've pushed that back for those young people by 10 years. Part of that is those student loan debts where these people are they're convinced that they've got to go to college, and they get these college degrees, and they're not useful, and yet they've got to pay this back. And the colleges and universities are kind of part of this too, because they're giving these kids these degrees and selling them a bill of goods that never pays off for them. But we've got to lower the cost of housing for people. And a big part of that is interest rates. Of course, interest rates go up because government spends too much money. We're putting too many dollars into the system, which devalues the dollars that are already out there, and that drives up the cost of housing. It's a supply and demand type thing. So we've got to take care of our younger people and find ways to get them into homes. Second point on that issue, 50%, just about 50% of young adults under 30 live at home with their parents.
Wow.
They just can't afford to get out and launch themselves. Part of it is because they can't find the good paying jobs. We had, to go back to DeLuzio, he worked against the U.S. Steel, Nippon Steel merger, which kept a lot of really good, high-paying jobs for people that didn't necessarily have college degrees. And that was right here in the district, right in PA 17, where those jobs were saved. It's those types of things. It's getting kids into trade schools. I love what the trade unions are doing in getting these people skills and abilities to have good paying jobs and put them to work. And I know there's a lot of people that, I'll say this, I think the trade unions are figuring out that Republicans are better for them, because we are promoting building industries and factories and those things that put their people to work. And a lot of people criticize that and say they're only temporary jobs. Well, these people that work in the trade union, the cracker plant, for example,
Right.
We had really good trade union jobs for about 5 years, and then the cracker plant was built, and those jobs were then gone. But that was 5 years of those people working and putting food on their table and a roof over their heads,
Right.
and taking care of their families. And the way those folks work, and this shouldn't be diminished, of course, every one of those jobs that they get into is a temporary job. But their careers are a series of those types of jobs, which leads them to a really good lifestyle. So raises their standard of living, keeps their families in a good place.
And they're not paying college debt for the rest of their life.
And they're walking out of there, and they're getting a job. When I retired from the state police, I was doing some private security work. And one of the things that I did, I was helping out with some security for the Marcellus Shale thing was really kicking off and getting big. And I was helping out with some security for some of the pipeline companies that were working down there. I got to meet some young welders who were making $6,000 a week.
Wow.
Crazy, amazing
That's
money.
good money.
And these kids, listen, if they banked 2/3 of that, they were setting themselves up for life. And I talked to some of these kids. They were buying land out west. They were doing really, really well. Think about what that money means. And they were chasing jobs. They were working hard, 10, 12-hour days, working 6-7 days a week. But, man, those are opportunities that those kids have. So I think we need to get away from telling kids that the only opportunity you're ever going to have is to have a 4-year college degree. That's not necessarily the case. And a lot of these young kids, they work in their field for a while, and then they start their own business and hire people and put other people to work. So we've got to get away from this idea that college is the only solution, and we've got to find a way to hold universities accountable that the education that they're giving these young kids is going to result in life-sustaining jobs.
Right. All right, we're visiting with Sheriff Tony Guy this morning. He is running for Congress on the Republican ticket in the 17th District, and we're going to take a break for news with Noah. Take a short break first, and then we'll have news with Noah here in a minute on Beaver County Radio.
Put freedom in your future. Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester.
Vehicle shopping is confusing because the more you look, the more confused you get. Well, that doesn't happen when you visit All Access Car and Truck Sales in New Brighton. With over 20 years of experience, their friendly staff will listen to your needs and help you decide on the vehicle that best suits your needs. Check out their inventory online or in person. No matter what your credit is, they offer many options. Open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 10 to 7, Wednesday and Friday from 10 to 6, and Saturday from 10 to 4. So don't get confused. Cruise in and visit All Access Car and Truck Sales in New Brighton. Let them make your next car experience one to remember.
Ryan Blaney takes the win at the Magic Mile. I'm Tim Catalfamo. This is the Monday Morning Race Recap brought to you by Sunoco. From NASCAR to your car, Sunoco. Performance is what we do.
Down here, Ryan Blaney gets 4 tires, Sunoco Racing Fuel.
From fueling NASCAR champions on the track for over 20 years to innovating 94 octane, the highest octane on the market. Performance is what Sunoco does.
Sunoco cans injected to the car, Bubba Wallace down and away.
All Sunoco fuel at the pump meets the same top-tier standards as the fuel used in NASCAR. From the track to your tank, Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR.
Ryan Blaney collected his 3rd win of the 2026 season and his 2nd win in the last 6 races Sunday afternoon at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Blaney had just enough to hold off Bubba Wallace and Josh Berry, who were closing in on Blaney in the final laps, but ran out of time. Teams started the race on wet weather tires after rain showers passed through the area before the start, quickly switching to slick tires as the track became dry. With Blaney getting the win, Bubba Wallace finished in 2nd. Josh Berry was 3rd, with Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson the top 5. Other notables include Denny Hamlin, who came home 7th, Joey Logano was 14th, Chase Elliott 25th, and William Byron 30th. 13 drivers locked themselves into the chase following the race on Sunday afternoon, with now 1 race remaining in the regular season. Denny Hamlin still holds the points lead by 77 markers over Ryan Blaney, with Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, and Christopher Bell the rest of the top 5 in the standings. The Cup Series now heads to the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway, for the regular season finale this Saturday evening. You can hear live flag-to-flag coverage of the Coke Zero Sugar 400 exclusively on the Motor Racing Network. And with the Monday Morning Race Recap on the Motor Racing Network, I'm Tim Catalfamo.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Monday, August 24th of 2026. We will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. Beaver County Radio's Curtis Walsh reports that 41-year-old Christopher L. Brown of Brighton Township is in jail and faces multiple charges after an incident of road rage occurred in Newswickley Township on Thursday. This happened shortly after 10 p.m. and police responded to Fizell Road. Officers were told that a silver Chevy Impala was fleeing the scene after shots were fired at another vehicle. An officer was able to locate the vehicle on Blackswoods Road at the intersection with Big Knob Road, traveling at a high rate of speed away from the area where the incident took place. Victims told officers the incident started in the 300 block of Big Knob Road as the two vehicles passed each other while traveling in opposite directions and began flashing their high beams at each other. The victims indicated that Brown turned around and began following them on Big Knob Road and attempted to cut them off several times. The victims stated they had to drive through a yard to avoid a collision with Brown's vehicle. They say that Brown then began to follow them onto Blackswoods Road and then onto Fizell Road, where they say Brown began to shoot at them. Brown's charges include 2 counts of aggravated assault, and he is currently being held in the Beaver County Jail after failing to post a $250,000 bond. Pennsylvania State Police in Beaver reported on Friday that 26-year-old Chance Watkins of Fairmont, West Virginia, was charged after a crash occurred in Beaver County on Wednesday. This happened in Hanover Township at 4:43 a.m. Watkins was driving on State Route 168 near the intersection with Ridge Road and fell asleep behind the wheel. After he failed to maintain control of his vehicle, he hit a power line with his vehicle and the power line fell, blocking the road. Watkins escaped the scene, and after he left, 40-year-old Timothy Cash Dollar of Chester, West Virginia, was driving on State Route 168 and drove over the power pole even though he tried to avoid it and failed. There were no reported injuries. The Beaver Art Group is having an art show in September at the Cranberry Artist Network Gallery. That gallery inside the Cranberry Municipal Center will host an opening reception for the exhibition on Wednesday, September 23rd from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. The public is welcome to attend this event, and refreshments will be served. Each of the artists will be available to discuss their work. For over 70 years, the Beaver Art Group has been meeting to discuss their art. And the final round of blood drives from both Vitalant and the Pittsburgh Pirates are this Wednesday and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day at PNC Park in its press conference room. Donors of all blood types are needed, but type O blood is needed the most to help most patients that are suffering from emergencies. Those who donate will receive a voucher for 2 Pirates tickets for games that are on Sunday through Thursday. Free parking will also be available in Red Lot 6. Located on 200 West General Robinson Street, Pittsburgh.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Today, it'll be mostly sunny and mild temperature-wise as we reach highs near 72 and drop down to lows of 58. And tomorrow, we'll see areas of patchy fog through mid-morning. Otherwise, expect sunshine throughout the day with highs of 77 and lows of 59. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Monday, August 24th of 2026 at 36 minutes after 10, we've got a temperature of 67 degrees with fair skies out there currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Hot coffee in the morning and Frank Sparks. Now you're in the fast lane. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and streaming live on beavercountyradio.com.
10:37 a.m. and visiting in hour number 1 with Sheriff Tony Guy. He's running on the Republican ticket in the 17th District for U.S. Congress, coming up in the election. And Tony, one of the big things is getting people out to vote right now. It's huge, whether you do mail-in, whether you do whatever, we got to get people out to vote.
Voter turnout in recent elections, especially non-presidential years, has been abysmal. And it just, I don't know where that's coming from, if people are just apathetic or they don't feel like their vote counts. I really think we need to do a better job of securing the elections in this country. The SAVE Act is another one that Congressman DeLuzio has voted against, where we've got some Democrats that are crossing the lines to vote for that. So people need to know that their vote counts and it's secure. But they've also got to know that their vote is going to make a difference, too. And that's all the way down the line. This year, at the top of the ticket, we've got the governor election this year, and then the congressional, and then your state districts. But also there's going to be some, I think there's going to be some local elections on the ballot, too. So people got to know that their vote counts. It's important that they get out and vote. The district that I'm running in, if I can talk about that just for a second.
Absolutely.
It's about size. I'm used to running for sheriff. I've
Right.
run for sheriff 3 times, for election, then re-election twice. Beaver County is about 155,000, 160,000 people. This district is about 5 times that. So it is all of Beaver County, and it is about a third of the population of Allegheny County that covers the northern and northwestern, northeastern districts. If you picture a lobster claw wrapping around the city of Pittsburgh, I do not have any part of the city of Pittsburgh, but I got everything that wraps around there, including the North Hills, all the way down through Findlay and Robinson, and then on the other side over towards the eastern end, all the way over to the Allegheny River and Route 28 and up along that corridor there. So it's a big district. I spent 80% of the population of that district is in Allegheny County, so I've been spending a lot of my time over there getting to meet people and talk to people. I'm going to continue to do that throughout this. I know Beaver County is going to come out for me strong. They know the work that I've done here in Beaver County, but voter turnout is going to be huge here. And I got to tell you, I'm a Republican, running as a Republican. I can't win this district with just Republicans voting for me. They're the biggest growing faction of political affiliation in Allegheny County right now is independent. And for the most part, they're moving from Democrat to independent. And that's in large part because of the Democrat socialist movement and people understanding that that does not represent their values. So independents got to vote for me, and I'll even get votes from Democrats who know my work.
So, well, since you're so well known in Beaver County, you talked a little bit about how you've gotten your name out there within Allegheny County and throughout the rest of the district. How do you plan on getting people to know who Tony Guy is?
So part of that is fundraising, man, and that's the biggest challenge in a race of this size and in a race this in this district. The district is slightly blue, so I've got to get my name out there. With the fundraising, that allows me to send mailers out, do advertising on TV and on social media and other digital types of advertising. We've started that. We're gonna do some more of it, a lot more of it. But I can't shake the hands of 760,000 people. So so we've got to use those tools to get out there. And I tell, we're door knocking, we're getting volunteers out there. The signs are in, all of those things. But the best thing that I can do is ask those people that support me to talk to their friends and families and neighbors. I got when you run for a race like this, you're advised you have to have a consulting company to consult with. But they have a boilerplate plan that they follow, a step-by-step process. But I think what they miss sometimes, that in Western Pennsylvania, there's so much of a grassroots friends and neighbors kind of campaign.
Everybody knows everybody.
Everybody knows everybody, man. And so what I ask people to do is just spread the word, talk to their friends and family, and make sure they get out to vote, whether it's mail-in ballots, absentee ballots, or in person on Election Day. The more people that come out to vote, the better chance I have.
What do you think is the most important issue that families are facing right now?
I would have to say cost of living.
Okay.
Cost of living and energy is driving a big part of that. I saw a chart the other day that over the last, I think it was 15 years or so, that we are not producing any more energy in the country than we were then, which is insane when you think about it and you think about what's eating up energy these days. And then you think about what Pennsylvania is and what Western Pennsylvania is as far as good, clean energy that's underneath our feet here. We need to maximize that to help to bring down the cost of living. We should be, they call Western Pennsylvania the Saudi Arabia of natural gas, and we are not taking advantage of that, in part because of regulation. And I think as a congressman, I'll be able to kind of put that regulation in the proper place to take advantage of that and bring some prosperity here to southwestern PA.
When you talk about electric and the grid and the strain on it, one of the biggest things that's straining the grid is these data centers, and a lot of people are against them, and some people are for them. What's your thoughts about all these data centers?
Well, you can be against them, but if you're against them, maybe you shouldn't use them, and we're all using data centers. And I'm not saying I'm against them or for them. I'll explain what I mean by that in a second, but people need to understand when you pick up your cell phone and you Google something or you go to your social media and start scrolling, you're using data centers. So they are here. They're not going away. The demand for them continues to increase. And let me start here. I'll say I have some things that are set in stone for me when it comes to data centers. Number one is local control. Without question, people in Washington, D.C., and people in Harrisburg should not be dictating to municipalities and communities that they must or they must not have a data center. That control 100% needs to remain in local hands. People have to have the ability to say, no, we don't want one, or yes, we do want to put one in our communities. Number two, without question, and I spoke about the energy challenges that we face, without question, I believe that these communities should not accept, and maybe this does need to be legislated, that a wealthy company should not be starting a data center unless they're bringing their own energy with it. So when I tell you we've got all this natural gas underneath us, we've got the ability to do nuclear, and there are, I think it's Google that's putting up a nuclear plant or restarting a nuclear plant for a data center. I think these companies that are doing this need to bring their own energy. That's helpful to Western Pennsylvania. It means construction of these plants, but it has to have their own energy, and that energy, and think about it, these communities then can negotiate with these corporations and say, not only do you have to bring in energy so that you're not taking from the grid, we're going to require you to go about 25 or 30% above that so that you're not only not taking away from the grid, you're actually adding to the grid and helping to lower energy costs for people. So those are a couple of the main things that I think are non-starters for me. If you're not providing for local control and you're not requiring your own energy for these companies, we're doing it wrong. The other thing that I want to talk about is this: it's a global market for data centers, for the data that's flying around out there in the Ethernet. It's a global market, and China and our adversaries are absolutely developing this kind of stuff. I understand the fear of AI. I understand the fear of what a data center might bring to a community. And we've got plenty of brownfields in southwestern Pennsylvania where these things can be built far, far away from neighborhoods. So that's something that has to be considered with local control, of course. I lost my track there. Oh, it's global. Our adversaries are developing these things. If we are going to maintain our status as the preeminent world power, we have to have control of this. And if we say no to data centers, these companies are going to go overseas and place the data centers overseas. And if China takes the lead on data centers and even AI, we are going to be at an extreme disadvantage. They're going to own us.
Well, there's a security risk as well.
It is a national security issue that we need to be able to have these and regulate them. I'm not saying they need to be in our communities. I'm not even saying they have to be in southwestern Pennsylvania. But the United States has to regulate them and control them, because if the data is going overseas, we've lost control of it.
Absolutely. All right, we're visiting this morning with Tony Guy. He is the sheriff of Beaver County, and he is running against Congressman Chris DeLuzio in the 17th District on the Republican ticket. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with more right after this here on Beaver County Radio. If you have kids going off to college this fall, one of the most important things to consider is their new car. College kids need vehicles that are fuel efficient to save money and are versatile for cargo and passenger space, and also have a sporty exterior. When you're looking for a new back-to-school car for your student, look no further than Moon Township Ford. They have plenty of vehicles that your student will love, whether new or pre-owned. And for everyone else, summer means it's time to get going and enjoy the warm weather. If your truck is your lifeline to towing recreational vehicles, campers, boats, and carrying jet skis, fishing gear, and more, the Ford F-150 truck is the vehicle for you. No matter where your summer vacation takes you, the adventure will be more fun in a new vehicle from Moon Township Ford. Summer vacations or back-to-school gear up. Trust Moon Township Ford to have what you need. University Boulevard, across from Robert Morris.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
Are you frustrated by high copays for your generic drugs? Stop overpaying and start saving. Discover Forward RX, your local cost-plus pharmacy in New Brighton. At Forward RX, we believe in transparency and affordability. No insurance middlemen, no inflated prices, just the true cost of your medication plus a simple fixed markup. Join the Forward RX family today and experience the difference. Check out our medication prices online at fwdrx.com or give us a call for a price quote. Forward RX. Come for the savings and stay for the service.
Have you had a McDonald's refresher yet? Stop by and pick up one of their tasty new drinks like strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, or the bold new blackberry passion fruit. You'll love it, and so will your taste buds. Only at McDonald's. I'm loving it.
It's time to wake up, Beaver Valley, with Pastor David Grove from the Church of the Redeemed of Beaver Valley. Tune in to Beaver County Radio this and every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. It's time to wake up and turn our hearts back to Jesus Christ. So wake up early this Saturday and tune in to Wake Up Beaver Valley from 9 until 10 a.m. right here on Beaver County Radio.
Listen to Beaver County Radio every Monday and Friday in the 11 o'clock hour for the Beaver County Humane Society's Pick of the Litter. We'll be highlighting one resident animal from the shelter that needs a loving home. Pick of the Litter is being brought to you each and every Monday and Friday by Tom Sipes Demolition, Nally Elias and Associates, Balcones Moon Township Ford, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, the Alvarez Hahn Funeral Home, J. Young Refuse, McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, and Beaver County Radio. Check out the Pick of the Litter on our website at beavercountyradio.com.
Put freedom in your future. Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester. Weekday mornings were meant to drive in the fast lane. It's Frank Sparks on Beaver County Radio.
It is currently sitting at 10:50, and it is 62 degrees in Beaver County. Visiting at hour number one with Sheriff Tony Guy. He is a candidate for U.S. Congress in the 17th District on the Republican ticket. And I want to ask you in these last few minutes we have, Tony, first off, tell us a little bit. I seen this commercial you got out there on Adams Street and talking about the construction and how long it would take. What's your ideas of some things you could do maybe to get rid of some of that red tape?
Yeah, red tape and regulation. And I know people think, well, this isn't a federal project. Why are you even concerned about it? It's emblematic of what the problems are. When a government comes in and starts a project like that, they should have a specific end time. They should be in constant communication with the businesses and the people in those areas, letting them know what's going on. There should be penalties for the companies that they contract with to get that work done if they're not meeting deadlines. And people need to know, those businesses along that road. And again, keep in mind, we're talking about not just one particular project. Think about all the orange cones that you see across PA 17, and it applies to everything. But those people in those areas need to know, okay, I am going to put up with a temporary, a short-term inconvenience because I know long-term it's going to work out for me. I don't think those people living in those areas are seeing that. We've got to roll back red tape and over-regulation and make it so those people aren't so severely impacted.
Well, hopefully, especially in an incident like this, how do you make it so the businesses can survive? Because, I mean, it does they take a hit while it's going on no matter what.
They've got to have alternate ways to do it, a project like that. And I know this has been done to some degree, but you do it in phases, you do it in sections so that a long road like that isn't completely shut down for such a long period of time.
What are some of the other things that are passionate to you that you would like to see change if elected?
Yeah, I talked about this a little bit earlier on here, but it's the tone in Washington, D.C., and the loyalty to the parties as opposed to the people. When we started this thing 250 years ago, and it was revolutionary in many ways, and it was about giving power to the people, and I think the people don't believe that they have the power anymore, in large part because the candidates, the people that are elected, the public officials, are more beholden to the parties than they are to the people, and that's kind of the vow that I'm taking, that I'm giving to the people who will vote for me, is that when I go to Congress, when I go to Washington D.C., every vote I take is going to have the people of the district in mind, and not just the parties. People are sick of that. I think that's affecting voter turnout. Why people are upset about it. There are probably only 15 or 20 districts in the entire country out of 435 congressional districts that are in play. This one is in play. And right now the seat is being held by someone who is more loyal to the party than he is to the people of this district. So that's the pledge I want to make, is that I'm going to have the people of this district in mind when I take a vote, and I'm going to do it in a respectful way.
If somebody would like to make a donation to your campaign or become a part of it, how can they do that?
TonyGuyForCongress.com, that's the website. I'm on Facebook at Sherriff Tony Guy. When you go to the website or you go to the Facebook page where you can get to the website, there's two major buttons there. One is donations, so $5, $10, whatever you can afford to give. Fundraising is super important. I've got to get my message out. And the second part is there's a button that says get involved. Put your information in there. You'll get our newsletter, and you'll get opportunities to see how you can help us out.
All right, my final question for you. Why elect Tony Guy for U.S. Congress?
Yeah, so I think I said it just a second ago, man. It's about the tone in Washington, D.C., the demeanor, and finally having somebody. And I believe I've done that in Beaver County as the sheriff. I've represented the interests of the people here, not the political parties. Running for sheriff, obviously I've been a Republican this entire time. I got elected in a district that was 2-1 Democrat because they understood who I was, and they came out and voted for me. Republicans, independents, Democrats, they voted for me. I'm going to apply the same principles in U.S. Congress. And again, it's the demeanor and the willingness to serve the people and get people having trust in their elected officials again and understanding that I'm serving you, not the other way around, not to get rich off of insider trading, but to see what the needs are of the district and follow through with that. Anything I forgot to ask you? Frank, I just love spending time with you, man. It's been a while.
Yeah,
hey, we got some things coming up in the sheriff's office.
Okay.
I know we did something last year for our Safe Surrender Day. We're going to do something like that again this year.
Okay.
It's coming up in about a month or so.
All right.
But let's do that again. Talk about that. No, I think we covered it, man. Thank you.
I think the main thing is get out and vote.
We need a better voter turnout, man. 20% voter turnout is ridiculous, especially when you figure there's probably close to 50% of the country that isn't even registered, eligible age voters who are citizens, by the way, who are not registered to vote. We need to get those numbers up, and we need to get people to vote. It's easy to vote now. Get out and do it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Frank.
All right. Coming up next, we'll have Open Talk in hour number 2 here on Beaver County Radio.
Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester.
Here at Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WNBA, we just love giving away prizes and making winners out of our listeners on a regular occurrence. If you'd like a complete list of the WBVP and WNBA prize contest rules, just visit beavercountyradio.com.
Are you frustrated by high copays for your generic drugs? Stop overpaying and start saving. Discover Forward RX, your local cost plus pharmacy in New Brighton. At Forward RX, we believe in transparency and affordability. No insurance middlemen, no inflated prices, just the true cost of your medication plus a simple fixed markup. Join the Forward RX family today and experience the difference. Check out our medication prices online at fwdrx.com or give us a call for a price quote. Forward RX. Come for the savings and stay for the service.
A lot has changed since 1885. That's when my great-grandfather, William Andrew Hartzell, opened the doors to our family-owned and operated funeral home. This is William F. Rick Murphy from the William Murphy Funeral Home Incorporated in Rochester. Together with my son, Brian C. Murphy, we represent a business that is now flourishing into its 5th generation. Throughout that time, we've had the pleasure of experiencing many of local memories that have made Rochester and the surrounding area so great. I'll bet many of you can easily recall the H.C. Fry Glassworks, Barnett's Bootery, or even Kaufman's Department Store with its massive double-decker parking lot.
To put things in perspective, my family was already serving others at their time of need before the automobile had even been invented and the aforementioned businesses started and ended. Our commitment to serve our community with dignity and compassion has allowed the William Murphy Funeral Home, Inc. to preserve a business legacy that spans nearly 140 years, and we're still here. To contact us, visit our website at William Murphy Funeral Home, Inc. or call 724-775-0309.
This is Greg Brown, broadcaster for the Pittsburgh Pirates, here to remind you that Moon Township Ford is your premier destination for all your automotive needs in western Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia. Browse through their new Ford models and gently used vehicles of all makes and models. Check out their website or visit them on University Boulevard in Moon Township. Whether it's a home run at the ballpark or a vehicle from Moon Township Ford, the excitement is the same. Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
Vehicle shopping is confusing because the more you look, the more confused you get. Well, that doesn't happen when you visit All Access Car and Truck Sales in New Brighton. With over 20 years of experience, their friendly staff will listen to your needs and help you decide on the vehicle that best suits your needs. Check out their inventory online or in person. No matter what your credit is, they offer many options. Open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 10 to 7, Wednesday and Friday from 10 to 6, and Saturday from 10 to 4. So don't get confused. Cruise in and visit All Access Car and Truck Sales in New Brighton. Let them make your next car experience one to remember.
Check out Beaver County's free online source for news, sports scores, and more. BeaverCountyRadio.com. Check out Beaver County's free online source for news, sports scores, and more. BeaverCountyRadio.com. You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.